all today, but he's just sitting behind Bradley Wiggins, the yellow jersey, and seems to have been going pretty well today. He's gone over the all category Colombia quite well, and he's sitting in this group now just behind Bradley Wiggins, so clearly not in bad form. 38 seconds down on Wiggins, and somebody we're sort of looking at a little bit under the radar because he really is predominantly a time trial specialist, but we've seen how well he can go in the hills.
Yeah, that was interesting to see how he went, and he's passed the kind of first test over the Grand Colombia earlier today. Just sitting there right up there behind the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins, and yeah, another couple of days of testing in the mountains to see how he is. He's a good outside bet for the Tour de France, as we've seen from the time trial yesterday, and you know, if he manages to stay in there in the overall on this year's Critérium du Dauphiné, because he is getting better and better every year. Still, Thiago Mercado for Radio Shack at the front on his own. I think I saw at least one other Radio Shack, but again, back to the front of this 8-man group, and everybody prepared to do their turn. Maybe not given with 10.7 kilometres to go with 1 minute, not given 100%, but everybody's now starting to think, how can I win this stage?
Yeah. There's Tony Galopin right towards the front here. Look at a side shot of him. Anybody who's going to chase him down? Who is it?
Yeah,
but they're still looking.
But
not very far ahead, is he?
Look at the gap now. It's still 50 seconds. This kind of messing about slightly. A few riders have said, come on, we've not got enough. Look at the straight roads, right?
Yep.
50 seconds, you can see them in the distance, so a carat ahead of the bunch. Now you've got two riders from Europcar helping out Cadre and Mercado, and you can just see De Gregorio. He gives that sign, come on, we have to keep on riding, because he knows this is touch and go now, whether they can hold off the bunch, because on these big straight roads, you can see them. Mercado now slipping back a bit. He wants more help, and when we come onto this big straight roads, possibly if other riders can see these riders in front, it's a big carrot for them and more riders will come up. But again, just hovering, it's still touch and go whether these guys can stay away.
Artur Visho, as predicted, goes off up the road, and Fofanov is going to do a bit of chasing. And Alberto Losada was it there, thinking, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do the shutting down. And Visho now goes to the front and starts to drive on. The two strongest men here, or the two men most willing to show their strength, have been Visho and Fofanov at the moment. Question is, how much have they got left? That was 5 or 10 kilometers ago. Visho is still up ahead. Now De Gregorio gets on the gas a little bit. And Igor Martinez, at this present time, looks like to be the most canny rider here, doesn't he?
Yes, he's the most experienced, but it's Visho for France de Dieu. To be honest here, most of these riders are on their last legs. This has been a difficult day, and I think after 3 hours of racing, they were still averaging about 45 kilometres an hour, so a difficult day for them. 6 kilometres, now under 50 seconds, 49 seconds, and again, if it keeps on this stop-start nature in the last few kilometres, it still can be brought back. Really depends on the bunch. If they decide to put numbers in front, what sprinters are left in there, everybody will look around and go, well, the green jerseys here, Tony Galopin, we've not got much chance of beating him, so why should we ride?
Exactly right, yeah.
That's why I can't understand about Europcar. They are helping to put a couple of riders towards the front, but it's the fact that they have missed this breakaway, and they want to give their whoever's in the group with them, we haven't picked up everybody, an opportunity to try and win this stage.
Well, Roland and Faulkner are both in the group. Cyril Gauthier is in the group. Well, Cyril Gauthier is not a sprinter, neither is Roland, but well, he has turned in some decent sprints in the past. 46 seconds for Artur Visho. from the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins. Nobody's come across to help him. They're still all sort of looking at each other. Five kilometers remaining in this stage of the Critérium du Dauphiné. And Arthur Vichot has set out by himself from a small remaining escape group to try and stay away. They're all looking at each other. This is the peloton group with Thiago Machado on the front, and then Biel Kadri of AG2R Le Mondial. Christophe Kern. Gosh, he's had a tough old day, Christophe Kern, hasn't he? Been backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and now he's on this group.
Yeah, and even the chasers are all messing about, and for Vichot this is good. He's looking strong enough. 48 seconds now inside 5 kilometers to go. These riders behind starting to mess about. The gap going up, what, 15-20 seconds now?
I'd say so.
Starting to look as if Vichot could pull off this win for Française des Jeux. I don't think in the bunch now the right firepower at the front to pull all these riders back, but this is what it needed. One rider to go out and just give it 100%, an opportunity of a stage one, and Vichot looking good with 4.2 to go. Yeah,
they've been looking at each other, seeing who's going to do the work to track him down, but if you haven't got the legs, you haven't got the legs, as simple as that. But Arthur Vichot is on his way. He's got about 15-18 seconds over the rest of the chasing group. He's always spent his career at Française des Jeux. Marc Madiot will be very happy about that. That's Losada, I think, and Dmitry Fofanov. Well, the two strongest men for me, anyway, I don't know about you, Brian, but for me in this particular escape group, looked to me within the first sort of 4 or 5 kilometers, you could see them, to be Arthur Vichot and Dmitry Fofanov. So they're still at it there. Why on earth are... They must be working for Roland. Roland must be wanting to turn in a sprint here, I would think.
Yeah, but he's not going to beat Tony Galopin. It's probably the fact that they've missed, they don't have any riders in this front group, and they've just said, right, try and bring this back. There is a lot of kind of infighting between the French teams, and here in the race radio that Française des Jeux Vichot is on his own. 51 seconds. The bunch are not going to come back. The only two riders that could possibly win this stage or take this stage away from Vichot are the two riders behind of Losada and Fofanov. Can't see them coming back. Vichot looks as if 3.1 kilometers to go. He looks as if he's strong enough. He looks as if he's going to be winning this stage today for Française des Jeux.
Pulls off about 1 or 2 good quality domestic victories a year, does Arthur Vichot. This year he's yet to open his account with a victory. Last year he got a couple, one in the Tour de Doubs, and he got one actually in sort of area we were in a couple of days ago in the Ardèche earlier on in the year. So he doesn't mind the hard stuff. He's like a lot of these French riders of his generation, Brian. They're tough all-round riders. He got a victory in the Tour of the South Ardèche.
That's a hard race. The Bricouse de la Sur d'Ardèche, yeah. It's a very difficult race, and I remember Française des Jeux went there and ripped that race apart. So he knows what, you know, he goes well in these roads, and by the looks of things, he's got the measure of everybody else. 2 kilometers to go for Vichot. 52 seconds back to the yellow jersey group. There are some riders in between, about 7 riders. We haven't seen any pictures of the chase. The last time we saw Losada and Fofanov were chasing, but Bricouse de la Sur d'Ardèche is a difficult 1.1 race earlier on in the year in France, and if this man won it, then he knows this terrain, and he's a very, very strong rider.
Yeah, as I said, he's one or 2 really good wins domestically. This would be probably the biggest single victory of his career. He's always been with Française des Jeux. I think the last 3 years after Vichot. Before that was an elite rider, elite 1 rider. He's still turning the pedals, a little look under the arm like a trackie. 24 seconds back. They're not going to catch him, that's for sure, unless he just suddenly completely collapses. But it's all about sustain. This is a time trial now. You've just got to sit on the point of that saddle and use 8% of your energy that you've still got left. In the last kilometre, you'll just bury yourself. 1.2 kilometers to go for Arthur Vichot. There is the 1 kilometer kite. And Francis de Jeux are going to take a stage victory. Arthur Vichot, the rider, started the season very well. He rides those early season races very well. He was third in GP Marseillaise, so he knows that sort of tough early season racing. We were talking about the Sud-Ardèche a little bit earlier. He won last year. And Vichot is riding towards a stage victory in the Critérium du Dauphiné, which in his palmarès will look very sweet indeed. And Marc Madiot will sit back, kick his legs up on the table today, pour himself another strong coffee and have a big smile on his face, because his man is going to take the stage victory here in the Dauphiné. Fine ride. Timed it absolutely perfectly. He's a happy man. Keeps looking behind him to see where the opposition are, but you're safe, Arthur. I don't think they're going to get you. That's it, look, eases up on the pedals. Riding in towards the victory today. And Arthur Vichot takes a very fine win indeed. The two chasing men, Alberto Losada and Dmitry Fofanov, over 20 seconds back. Francis de Jeux take the win. Arthur Vichot from the breakaway. Magnificent ride. Salutes the French crowd. He's very French, isn't he? Wonderful. That's very, very good. Vichot takes the win.
But what a great race, and you know, the descents have just thrown up some very interesting racing over the last 40-50 kilometres, especially from the descent of the La Grande Colombière, the horse category climb. It came after 118.5 kilometres today of the 186.5 kilometre stage, but what a great win for Vichot, and again wins in this area, so he obviously likes this area, and went on an opportunist move, and these sometimes happen, and it did. The breakaway stayed away.
Yep. Arthur Vichot will improve his ranking in the standings from 173 upwards today. Martinez and Fofanov take second and third. Remy de Gregorio, Sarmiento Losada, Navarro Mederel, Maxime Bouet and Bruno Perez. Those riders coming across out of the peloton. Proper racing today. Your view of the way Sky responded to pressure today?
I thought good. They have been riding the first couple of road stages. They all went flat out in the time trial today. I thought, yeah, good. It was a good test for them. Tomorrow's another. The next 2 days are big for them, but I think they get through that. Not with flying colours, they get through it.
Bradley Wiggins has the yellow jersey thanks to some good riding today and a show of strength of him as well, getting across the gap in the last few meters before the end of the climbs, third category climb. Tony Martin still at 38 and Rogers at 120, but a fine win for the French, and Francis de Jeux big mat today. Arthur Vichot winning in Rumilly. Well, it was a proper day's racing, a fabulous time trial yesterday by all involved. Superb performances by Tony Martin, Cadell Evans and Bradley Wiggins. Wiggins leads overall at 38 seconds from Tony Martin and 120 from Michael Rogers. A very, very stiff day today. Can Evans pull anything back? We shall see. Bye for now.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Fan Academy, where you'll learn to push the limits in fan performance. It takes courage.
Come on, we can do this. Get your eyes on the screen.
Dedication. And above all, passion. But if you've got the right stuff, the rewards are there for the taking.
Giving your all for England. That calls for a Carlsberg.
Wow! Shoot wow, share now with Wi-Fi smart cameras from Samsung.
Good afternoon to you. It's the Queen stage here in the Critérium du Dauphiné. This is the one that will really count, the one that Bradley Wiggins and Team Sky have to defend that yellow jersey in with tooth and claw. Yesterday, Arthur Vichot took his first win of this season, and a win for a French team, Francis de Jeu, Big Matt, in the Critérium du Dauphiné. A really nice solo ride away from his fellow escapees. This man had a very good day in the saddle, long day in the saddle, hard day yesterday. Behind him, Cadel Evans and Vincenzo Nibali tried to put the cat amongst the pigeons and attack Bradley Wiggins and Team Sky on the Columbia, but they called the Grand Columbia, but it didn't happen. They managed to bring them back. It was a descent attack, and Bradley Wiggins still stays in the yellow jersey, 38 seconds ahead of Tony Martin, 120 ahead of teammate Michael Rogers, and then Cadel Evans at 144. Today is the big one, Saint-Alban-Leysse to Morzine, finishing with the climb and the legendary descent of the Jouplan. That's the Or category climb towards the end. Have a look at that. First category climb to start the day, then the Col de Colombier, and finally the Jouplan. They're out on the road. You can see there's a breakaway. The gap is 3 minutes and 14 seconds. 19 men in the breakaway, and some very big names there as well. Not surprising that some big names have managed to get away. They're being kept under control, pegged at 3 minutes and 14 at the moment by Sky. Just got two men on the front. You can see Francis de Jeu got a man here, but Grabch from Omega Pharma Quickstep. Not surprising that a big group got away on the beginning of the day, because the first category climb, the first climb of the day, the Col de Plain Palais, came after just 11 kilometers. So they went straight into the climb, and a number of big riders forcing the pace along and just sort of riding away, really, making that breakaway very early indeed. This is the breakaway, 19 men in it. You can see the mountains classification leader is in here, the little rider from Liquigas Sarmiento. Had a very good day yesterday, and he's had a very good day so far today, garnering maximum points on the climb. They are on the Col de la Colombier. First category climb. They're 102 kilometers in by the time they reach the top of this climb, and then it's down to the Côte de Châtillon de Cluse, third category climb, and then up the very famous and very tough Col de Jouplan. Now the way they will go up, it twists and turns. There's quite a ramped section. It's not as easy as perhaps you might think as some of these alpine climbs are. It's got a lot of ramps in it, and then the descent down the other side is absolutely monster. I mean, super fast at the top. It's very twisting and turning, quite a few switchbacks, but as you get to about halfway down, it is absolutely flat out. And if you could descend quickly like a Nibali, somebody like that, then it is going to be a one for you today. The 19 men in the breakaway then, to bring you up to speed. You're not watching the peloton. You thought you might be if you see some of these names here, but it's not. The breakaway riders, three from Katusha, Ignitenko, Losada and Trofimov, all in the breakaway. Pierre Rolland and Thomas Vogler both in the breakaway from Team Europe Car. Vogler at 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Biel Kadri and Christophe Riblon in the breakaway. Riblon going there for the possibility of a stage win and to help Kadri, or if he wanted to do something. But Kadri, I don't think, has the legs to contest the mountains classification, because at the moment the two men who have been making sure they are at the front of affairs when they go over the top are Maciej Pataski, the Polish rider, and Sarmiento of Liquid Gas. Sarmiento taking most of the points as they go over the top, or all of the maximum points. Diego Machado from Radio Shack Nissan is the Portuguese rider, is in the breakaway. He's the best placed man on GC, 5 minutes 33 seconds down, and was good yesterday, testing a little bit for today. I think he managed to get himself in the break. Smart move, thinks he's in good shape. Remy Di Gregorio and David Moncoutier again from Cofidis. Igor Martinez again in a break from Euskaltel. And Marco Mazzano of Lampre, Jesus Fernandez of Team Saxo Bank, Sylvain Chavanel of Omega Pharma Quickstep, so Sarge Brice Feuilleux, a winner in the Tour de France, a stage winner on his very first Tour de France a number of years ago now. Alexander Genier of Team Argos Shimano, and Matteo Carrara, who we saw in good form in the Giro d'Italia. So some big names, some good climbers, people, and some good overall strong men for the mountains, not necessarily superstars, but riders like Riblon, Carrara, Brice Feuilleux, Martinez, they're all very good riders. Di Gregorio, good riders, good stage winners, and these guys are going to have the work cut out today. Sky are all on the front of the peloton. Brian is in the commentary box with me. Today is the big day, Brian. They were put under a little testing time yesterday, but there's not been any real fireworks, so to speak, of so far. They've got 19 men in the breakaway. It's a steady pace at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. In the first couple of hours, they averaged 36.3 kilometers an hour. And you can just see from the tempo of both groups, they're not really given 100% on this Col de la Colombier. It's 11.7 kilometers, averages 5.7%, and it climbs 690 meters. They just want to get over the top of this, back down into the valley. We have got a third category climb before we hit the Jeu Plan. It will all kick off in the Jeu Plan. You can just see Sky just setting a good tempo, 3 minutes and 29 seconds back. You mentioned Machado is from Radio Shack, is placed best in the breakaway, 5 minutes and 33 seconds. We have had an attack from the peloton at the bottom of the Col de Colombia, where Grifko decided to go on the attack. He is 1 minute behind the leading group of 19, so it just goes to show you that Grifko attacked the peloton. He's now made up 2.5 minutes.
So they're not going flat out at all.
Yeah, so it just gives you an indication of it's a controlled speed. Everybody's waiting for the big fireworks in the Jeu Plan.
Although I've got a feeling that if they have the legs, or if anybody has the legs, they might well think about an attack or trying to push the pace on the Côte de Châtillon-sur-Cluse. It's not too far away from the Jeu Plan. It runs directly down onto the base of the Jeu Plan, and it may well be a springboard.
Yeah, I believe that there's a good possibility of the makeup of the 19 riders in front, that the winner of today's stage could possibly well be one of these riders. And you know, we have got some strong riders in this 19-man break. Grifko is still a minute down at the moment, but if he can make the junction, then it just leaves a few teams that have not really got anybody in this breakaway. Obviously, Sky protecting Bradley Wiggins. They've got a full complement still in the bunch. BMC just all looking after Evans, so they're not represented. Astana don't have anybody represented in the group in front, but Grifko's trying to get up to them. Lotto Belisol. Van der Broek's team just all sitting looking after him. Surprisingly, after the stage win yesterday, Français des Jeux Big Mat don't have anybody represented in this front group, but they have lost Fedigo, Buhani, Gerard, and Jenison didn't start this morning, so they are depleted in numbers. They've only got 4 left in this race, so it's kind of really no surprise.
Talking of people who are no longer in the race, Brian, worth mentioning 2 abandons so far today. Calder Fernandez, the sprinter from Garmin-Barracuda, or the sort of roadman sprinter, should we say, from Garmin-Barracuda, former Escatel rider, has abandoned today. But the big name to abandon today, Andy Schleck, climbed off his bike at 64 kilometres into the stage, and he's on his way home.
Yeah, officially. Alain Galopin is saying that after his crash in the time trial, he just had some problems yesterday with the right-hand side where he landed, and it was just hurting so much that after a difficult day yesterday, he started today, we went straight uphill, a first category climb, and it was just hurting that much that he decided it wasn't to be, and he went home earlier on, and it's just all about recuperation after his crash and then building up towards the Tour de France.
Well, that's the plan. 3 minutes 34 seconds between our 19 men and the main peloton. Sky doing the job that they have to do, sitting on the front controlling things. They, I think, will be quite happy that they've kept this gap at this level at the moment, and that there's nobody really within this group who is a threatening force, particularly a Machado. It's 5 minutes 33 seconds down. Vauclair 6 minutes 20 down. Realistically, looking at podium rather than getting themselves up in the yellow jersey at the moment.
Yeah, Sky are more than happy. It was a very tough day for them. They did a professional job yesterday. Yeah, they missed that that group with Evans attacking on the descent. So yeah, they got it back, and they're prepared to ride on the front again today. They're very thankful that it wasn't wet like it was yesterday in the stage. A great day here in the Alps, and you can just see the group of 19 just inside the last 500 metres of this climb. It just kind of kicks up over the top, but they'll stay together. King of the Mountains, Sarmiento for liquid gas, he's in the King of the Mountains jersey, will take again maximum points. You see that the fans towards the top. And Sky doing another good job today. It's really all going to come down to the Jeu plan. That's what it's come down to. It's going to be down to the likes of Wiggins, Evans, Tony Martin, guys that want to win this race, and I think that's what the teams are just playing out for.
And it's going to be a hard day as well. Weather really good, slight tailwind as you can see. This is Potaski leading Sarmiento up towards the top of the first category Col de la Colombier. It's going to be another 15 points in the bag. It's already got 70 points, and this jersey is decided pretty much.
Yeah, he's making a name for himself. He's just kind of popped out in the big mountains, and don't know too much about his breed, where he comes from, but certainly in the Critérium du Dauphiné, he's shown everybody his climbing legs, and looks as if he'll take that jersey all the way to the finish.
Yep, the climber's jersey here in the Dauphiné is the other way around to the Tour de France. There goes Chavanel over the top, Marzano. Here's the other way around to the Tour. It's a red jersey with white polka dots. And over the top he goes with Potaski. Team Sky keeping a lid on things. Danny Pate doing the riding on the front. 1 kilometre to go for the peloton. 3 minutes and 33 is the gap.
Would just give you an indication there. They're doing a kilometre at 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes. So the pace is just very, very steady at the moment. Everybody had a very difficult day yesterday, and the whole bunch looks as if it's all together as we see the 19-man breakaway on the descent of the Col de Colombier.
Yeah, this is a nice descent. This is a lot. Whoops, just a little bit of concertina effect, having to stop and get going again. Two men colliding on the side of the road there. A little bit of a thwack on the arm for the Euskaltel rider by Michael Cherel. What do you do that for, sort of thing? But it's just that concertina effect, just all sort of coming together. Look, they're just taking it steady up here, just riding steady tempo with Pate on the front, Christian Knees. And they're quite happy. They're able to talk to each other. They're able to sort of just have a bit of a breather, you know. And
they're more than happy.
They're more than happy. But, you know, all you have to think about is when you go out on a ride, and any ride that you get, if you're watching on the continent, you'll know about, in Central Europe, you'll know all about these sort of climbs, or France or Switzerland or whatever. If you're watching in Britain, we get this question all the time, especially during the Tour de France. How do these climbs compare with those in Britain? They don't, is the answer. You get lots of steep climbs in Britain and lots of long ones in Britain, but nothing as big, as long as stuff in the Alps. It just doesn't happen. And just imagine yourself going up the hardest climb that you know, or one of the hardest steady climbs you know, and being able to sit at the front at this pace that they're travelling at, watch them going past the spectators, and be able to chat away to each other and not have any problems whatsoever. And they're not even trying yet. You used to be able to do this, Brian?
Yeah, I used to, yeah. But yeah, looking at them, it's just at the tempo that they're sitting at the moment. We've just seen Knees and Danny Pate just having a wee chat. This is a controlled effort. When they woke up this morning and looked at the parcours today of a first category straight away, 2 third categories, then up to Colombia, the Jeu Plan, they would have been thinking, wow, what kind of day are we in for? That's why they're smiling. They're heading up towards the top. There's a group of 19 in front. The best placed is Machado at 5 minutes and 33 seconds. After a day yesterday where they were put under pressure, they would have been thinking today, oh, is it going to happen again? And luckily, it's a great day. Okay, the wind's blowing a bit, but yeah, it's a nice controlled effort by Team Sky. A couple of difficult days it could have been for them if other riders have decided to go on attack, but it just goes to show you that the other riders like Evans and Martin are feeling it as well. So this is all going to come down to the showcase on the Jeu Plan, and then the descent straight back into Morzine, and it's going to be a very interesting finale.
Yeah, the Col de Colombier just really averages about 6 to 7% for most of it, a little bit more at the top, but it's just a steady climb. Lovely descent on this one.
Hey.
Hi. So tell me, how was your holiday? Okay, so it was that good, was it? Anyway, they need to be checked before tomorrow. Hello? You know what? I'll leave you to it.
Under 60 kilometres to go, and under 60 kilometres to go, and the big climb of the day is still to come, the Col de Jeu Plan. 1,691 metres of it. And the way up the Jeu Plan, twisting and turning, starts okay at the bottom and then ramps up quite quickly, and then drops down again and ramps again. I rode it a couple of years ago with a bunch of triathletes who gave me a right whipping on the way up, I have to say. Thankfully I gave them a right kick in on the way down, which was good. So amazingly, I was saying to you earlier actually, Brian, it's amazing. I said to Sean Kelly, what do I do on this climb then? He said, well, you hung in there. And then on the descent, I mean, he hadn't ridden it for 20 years, I suppose, but he was capable of describing pretty much every bend in great detail. And it's just amazing how you go. How do you guys do it? How do you guys actually remember climbs and descents?
I don't know.
Lodge in there? We're available for bar mitzvahs,
yes.
weddings.
Yeah. Yes. Because sometimes, especially on a descent, your life sometimes depends on it. So and sometimes the race, it can be won on a descent as well as an ascent. So I think it's just concentration. All these riders, you can see them going down the descent at the moment, full of concentration. Any bad manoeuvres or going into the wrong corners can send you off the road, and you don't really want to be going off the road in these climbs because it hurts. And yeah, it's just most cyclists have got very good, or most top cyclists have got very good memories. It's when you get the likes of, you know, us, we forget a lot, don't we?
Oh, yeah, well, you are a top class cyclist. It's amazing. I suppose people do. I mean, a handful of climbs that, well, I do each year, you do tend to remember. I think you remember the pain, don't you? You remember why it hurts, or why you have
certain things you remember more than others. Certain climbs you know more than others. Certain descents you know more than others. And I think with Kelly, he always, you know, you tell the story about he was going down this climb and he had in his Speedo, you know, a massive amount, and Urs Fruller came past him, and you always remember things like that, and it's a lot easier to remember. I remember a lot of I only done them once in the Dolomites, in the Giro d'Italia. I remember them quite specifically, and in fact, when they were climbing up the Stelvio in the Giro d'Italia, I can remember coming down there in the Giro d'Italia through the unlit tunnels and you know, freezing cold hands. I can still vividly remember it, shutting one eye as I went into the tunnels and opening up so I could adjust to the darkness, and get one problem for one of the riders just in the middle of the picture. So yeah, it's concentration, but you remember some descents, some ascents, some bits of stages of this, stages of that better than others. You don't remember everything.
Well, we'll return to the Jouplan when we get there, of course, but they are now running down the Col de Colombia, the first category climb. They've done 102 kilometers, or what, 105 kilometers now, 55.7 kilometers to go, with Christian Knees, the former German road champion, sitting on the front. Edvald Boasson-Hagen just behind him. Let's chat a little about Boasson-Hagen. He was extraordinarily impressive yesterday, being brought back from a breakaway, which he'd bridged up to start with, and then being brought back again to help out with the chase because it had Nibali and Evans in it, and he was super strong. Yeah,
he killed himself to bring it back, and you know, when I thought he was going to drop him back to get bottles, he was in fact getting dropped. Shows you what the effort and commitment he's got with Team Sky. And yeah, he just followed the Evans group, found himself in that position. Once that gap got to what was just about a minute and 6 seconds between the two groups, Yates just got on the radio and says drop back, and that's where the radio helps, because that would have been a very tough chase for Team Sky, and it could have gone all the way to the finish, because it was pretty much 3 against 3. There was 3 riders with Evans, 3 riders with Bradley Wiggins, and it could have gone all the way to the finish. So radio back, and he just sat on the front and drilled it and brought it right back until he cracked, and then it was down to what, about 20 odd seconds, and Wiggins could just see his riders in front of him were toiling a wee bit, so he just took the pressure off, jumped across himself, and he looks so easy at the moment, Wiggins. But the thing is, today, Evans needs to go on the attack, but it's not just Evans that needs to go on the attack. You've got, you know, when looking at the overall, you've got Kelderman, which from Rabobank, he's a sort of young rider that will go on the attack and shoot.
I don't think he's got anything to lose, is he? I mean, I think he's found himself in a position in the Dauphiné which he probably, and his team probably, wouldn't have expected due to his time trialling ability. And he has been an exceptionally good time trialist. This is Mathieu Carrara leading them down. Exceptionally good time trialist in his under 23 days. He found himself in a position he wouldn't perhaps expect to be in 5th overall. And he's less than 2 minutes down on the leadership. Why would he not mount a challenge? Why wouldn't he just give it a go?
Yeah, well, for me, Evans is... I don't think Evans... He has to go on the attack earlier rather than later in his Jouplan, because he needs to take back 1 minute and 44 seconds. The way it's playing out at the moment, with one climb, the Jouplan, I'm not too sure. With the speed of the race at the moment, it said just before, the first 2 hours were on average in 36.3, so, and the whole complement of Team Sky are here. It's a bit of an easier day, if I can say easy day on a parcours like this. It's a bit of an easier day for everybody, and I think we'll go on to the Jeu plan with, I think all the contenders should have decent legs, and I can't see Evans taking out 2 minutes and Bradley Wiggins on that climb. But
watch out for Nibali today.
Yeah, but there is other people that are thinking possible stage one and trying to get onto the podium, because the podium at the moment is Wiggins, Martins, Rogers. Evans will want to get onto that podium. Kelderman will want to get on the podium. You've got Lewis Lane Sanchez, Van den Broek, Brakovic, Coppel. There's so many riders there that have to gain some time. And but just looking at Team Sky, they're in a strong situation with Michael Rogers in third and Chris Froome in sixth place.
3 minutes and 56 seconds at the moment as Matteo Carrara leads the breakaway riders. Just over 50 kilometers to go. A healthy gap coming up to the Jeu plan, but the fireworks are about to start.
When the red lights go out, nobody's looking back.
Own the must-have MotoGP experience of the year, combining unparalleled access and incredible live footage. Fastest on Blu-ray and DVD. It's the perfect gift for Father's Day.
We started improving Britain's homes in the great summer of '66, and now it's time to celebrate again with our Great British Home Sale. There's a spectacular saving of 50% off our Great British windows. Improve your home with pride this summer with half-price windows in Anglian's Great British Home Sale. Call us on 0800 500 600. Anglian Home Improvements, raising the standard.
If you're thinking about getting TiVo, Virgin Media's brilliant set-top box, but worry you won't get some of your favourite Sky channels, don't stress. Relax. All the new collections from Virgin Media come with Sky One, Sky Living, and even Sky Anytime on Virgin Media as standard. Plus you can add Sky Sports with Sky Sports F1 and Sky Movies if you want. Yeah, you can stop that now, Rich. Bit weird. The new collection's only from Virgin Media, including TiVo with Sky channels and super-fast fibre optic broadband. Check it out online.
It's the big day here in the Critérium du Dauphiné. This is the stage, I think, that will shake up things dramatically as we climb up the Jeu plan. Called the Jeu plan, been used many times, some with great historical significance, but not always for the right reasons, really. This is, I suppose we have to mention it, really. This is the way that Floyd Landis came when he went out on his long solo break to take back all that time and land the yellow jersey, only to be stripped of it. Afterwards, in 2006, he came out of the Jeu plan, up the Jeu plan, down the Jeu plan, into Morzine to take that solo win. I remember I was there in the commentary box. Marco Marzano and Yuri Trofimov. By themselves have descended off the Col de Colombier faster than the others, not really too concerned at the moment. Carrara's been going very well in the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's always a very handy rider, very aggressive rider. And the rest of them all coming down now. There is young Sarmiento. We were saying about how well he's doing. It's taken him a couple of years to get into the swing of things at Pro Tour level. Sarmiento, winner of the Baby Giro, so he knows a bit about climbing. He's a good rider. But it doesn't happen, doesn't it, Brian? I mean, it must have happened in your career. When you step up to that next level, you could have been winning all sorts of stuff at under 23 level, or as a junior or an espoir or whatever, and then suddenly you get piled in with the big boys. It can take quite some time to find your legs. Some never do.
Yeah, it's sometimes very difficult, and you know, if you're winning a lot at under 23 level and then go up and then you just become you know, kind of helper or domestic, and sometimes you get your opportunities in some races and you don't win for a couple of years. It sometimes does really affect your mentality, and it is all about motivation. Just see the Astana rider, Grifko's now made it on over the top of this Columbia, and has made it. He's just to the right of our picture, so 20 riders now in front.
Just goes to show that they're still not going full pace. If you can bridge a gap, 4-minute gap.
They're all giving respect to the Jus plan, but yeah, there's been a lot of riders that tend to look at when you're building a team. Obviously, you have to give the riders like Sarmiento, when you win the Baby Giro, that's a big race for the under 23s, and you know, if you win that, you look at Cataldo, who's won it in the past, and you know where he's sitting at the moment, and so it's very difficult when you win a lot young. When building a team, a lot of people look at the kind of second and third, fourth, fifth type places because they've still got something to prove. If you're winning at under 23 and come to a big a World Tour team and you've still got that hunger and that motivation, then good. But sometimes they come and they think, right, I've made it. And if you have that mentality, then it's very difficult. One person that I did look at through my involvement with the Enduro racing team is Paul Voss. Paul Voss was winning a lot at under 23 level. He went to Milram for 2 years. He won one race, which is the prologue in the Volta a Catalunya, and apart from that he'd done nothing, and it just really knocked his confidence. So what we're trying to do at the moment is just try and build his confidence back up, because you're right, David, you come to a big team and you have to find your way, and if you don't, it can knock your confidence. You go from winning bike races under 23 to riding with a World Tour team and not winning at all. It's very difficult, and it plays with your head a lot.
Yeah, some riders, of course, can deal with that. Some riders can't. You're right as well about a lot of the riders at under 23 level doing well and then coming in thinking they've made it. That was especially true of some of the French teams. It was especially true, funnily enough, of, I mean, Marc Madiot wouldn't agree with me, but I think there are a lot of other people who would. It was especially true at one time of Francis de Jeu. You got a lot of riders who came in, and a prime example actually would have been Remy de Gregorio.
Yeah.
Came into Francis de Jeu with a lot of talent, and quite rightly, people like Marc Madiot said, well, the way to develop this talent is to make sure they're well supported, well funded, they're paid reasonably well, they have backup, they've got somewhere good to live and all that sort of stuff, and actually paid them a lot more than a lot of other teams do. Well, and some of those riders just sat there and didn't do an awful lot.
Well, the UCI tried to look at that as well over the last few years, and Neo-Pros were given 2 years, because sometimes the Neo-Pro would come in for 1 year, didn't do a good job, and it was out the next door and back to riding amateurs, and it was so cutthroat then. And now Neo-Pros have got, you know, the minimum contract is for 2 years, so they've got the first year of learning, maybe trying to get results, and then they get stronger the next year, and you know, they've got 2 years to do it. So the UCI have done the right thing there, because it was just like a kind of conveyor belt. Some guys come in, never made it, back to amateur again, and it's very difficult. But when you get onto a pro team from Pro Continental to you know, this level of World Tour teams, that's the first step. You've not made it, this is the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like anything, isn't it? Stepping up to the very, very elite level. It's just starting again on a different ladder, to be honest. It's not even still progressing up the ladder. It's a totally different shaped ladder. You've got to get up.
But the races here, you've got your job. It's a lot more controlled. The harder races are the races at the bottom end. The 2.2s and 2.1s are very difficult races.
Yeah, but I think it's what is different, Brian, is when these guys come in from under 23 level to World Tour teams, they are given a job to do. They're often not used to doing a job. They can do better at those single-day races, tough races. There's Tony Gallopin. You can see actually he has fallen already today. He managed to get back on, but he had a bit of a thwack coming down the Col de l'Echaux after 32 kilometers, wearing the green jersey, points jersey. It'd be very good for him to hang on to that, but he's just hanging around the back of the peloton, but seems to be okay. But I think one of the, just to touch on that very briefly, I'm sure we'll go back to him. A lot of these guys come in from under 23 level. They're given a job to do in a team which they've not had to do before. So you get them in the smaller races, especially the French domestic races, for example, or Belgian domestic races, Italian. They can do quite well. Single-day races, tough races in tough environments. They're not soft riders. They're just not used to the whole job thing. They have to get used to that as well. Right, we need to take a short break. 44 kilometers to go.
Tunisia, where dreams come true.
If debt is destroying your life, then call this number now. I was in terrible debt. Credit cards, loans, overdrafts, everything. I thought I'd lose my home. I needed someone I could talk to, someone who understood my problems. We called Debt Free Direct. They've helped over 500,000 people find practical ways to take control of their debt. For me, they dealt with my lenders, and now I only pay back what I can afford. They give straightforward debt advice, and you can be sure to receive the best standard of service. That's because Debt Free Direct are members of the Debt Managers Standards Association and follow their strict consumer code. So call them now. They'll find the right solution for you, however much you owe. Speak to Debt Free Direct now on 0800 043 5559. That's 0800 043 5559. It could change your life.
Breakaway is at 42.5 kilometers to go. They are on the third category, Côte de Châtillon-sur-Cluse. And then off the bottom of that, they get into the Col de Jouplin. The Jouplin itself starts off at about 3 to 6%. Nice, not too bad at all. Once the switchbacks start coming, it kicks up to 6 and 9, between 6% and 9%. And then there's a section at about 3 kilometers or so in, which rises up to about 12-15%. And it dips back down again. And then there's these constant ramps on the Jouplin. It's one of the harder climbs in the Alps. Hello. Brice Felieux has decided that it's time to give it a go. Out by himself, Remy de Gregorio looking at him going, where are you off to then? But we did mention the fact, Brian, that it could be that this Côte de Châtillon is used as a springboard, and Brice Felieux has decided that this is his best way of getting away.
Yeah, he's won a stage in the Tour de France before by going on the attack and, you know, coming to the finish on his own. And with 20 riders in this group, they know that the danger man is Machado for Radio Shack at 5 minutes and 33. So he's using it as a springboard. There's too many. They're not really riding hard. It's being controlled by Sky. And Brice Felieux is 9 minutes and 25 seconds off the overall lead. So not a major threat for Team Sky. And he's looking behind. He wants to try and see if he can prize a few other riders across with him. No reaction yet. Still 41.7 kilometers to go to the finish. 3 minutes and 14. But this group behind, no reaction. And a lot of these riders are thinking, right, just keep the tempo up. We want to have 3 minutes at the bottom of the Jeu plan, and it's still far out, just over 26 miles to the finish, and they're thinking, well, we want to save all our energy for the Jeu plan instead of striking out early with Brice Filou.
Danny Pate and Christian Canes are doing the work on the front. They've been sharing it at the moment, and the whole of Team Sky protecting the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins here. In the overall classification, Wiggins leads Tony Martin by 38 seconds. We've not mentioned much about Tony Martin at all, really, in this race, apart from in the time trial. Why is that? Well, he's managed to keep himself fairly quiet, and we haven't seen a really testing day like today, but you know that he can get away okay. We've seen him on the Ventoux a few years ago, when he's got less weight on him, as most good time trialists can. They can climb reasonably well, and he better than some.
He can, but sometimes when he climbs on a good day, a few days later on, a few days later on, he kind of loses it again. So it's just being consistent. I don't think we're going to see Tony Martin on the attack. I think he just wants to follow, and
that's all he can do, to be honest.
If he finishes on the podium in the Critérium du Dauphiné, I think he'll be happy with that. He knows he's been up against a stronger man in Bradley Wiggins in the time trial, so he just wants to finish on the podium. But the green jersey competition is pretty much wide open. I don't think Tony Galopin will be the leader of that after today's stage.
This is Brice Filou and his brother Romain Filou. You could not get two more different riders, could you? Brice, tall, lanky climber, and hasn't had as good a career so far as Brice in general. I mean, he did win a magnificent stage in the Tour de France on his debut Tour de France a number of years ago in the mountains, but since then it's not been as good. He signed a big money contract to move on. The Filou brothers were both signed by Vacances in the hope, I think, that the Tour de France would accept them as a team, and he didn't do so. In the end, Brice didn't manage to perform as well as Romain. Romain remains there. Brice has had to move on. He is now here at Sochaux, and he's on the attack today. Nice to see that.
He seems, looking at his career, he seems to be more motivated with a French team. When he won the stage, he was with a French team, and you're right, David, when Vacances signed him up, they thought they would get them into the Tour de France. It didn't happen, and yeah, ever since that time, he hasn't really delivered, and now he's on the attack, and I think looking like the old Brice Filou from quite a few years ago. We've just seen it to the back, the Belgian champion, Philippe Gilbert. He's been dangling at the back and out the back for a long day today. Cheerlich just grabbing some bottles and taking them up to the car, and it looks as if Philippe Gilbert is in that duty again today. He's taking some bottles from a team car, and he'll be taking them back up. Use them while he can, because when the fireworks start on the Jeu plan, I don't think Gilbert will be in amongst them.
Yeah, I think Brice Filou has matured a fair amount since his win at Arcalis. A long time ago now, in 2009. So a number of years passed, and he really was looked upon. I mean, the two of them were looked upon as great hopes for French cycling. Got to say, it's not often you get a rider who is a top-class sprinter and a rider who can become a top-class climber, and they're brothers. They're just genetically, you wouldn't think that would happen, would you? But it does. Sky leading the peloton. Everybody happy to sit there. The gap is coming down a little now. They're on the Côte de Châtillon-sur-Cluse, and Francis de Jure deciding there's Gilbert going past.
Bars open.
Load of bottles. Yeah, bars open. Yeah. Francis de Jure, I've got the hurry up on the team card. There's probably French director sportifs jumping up and down in anger in the Francis de Jure car, watching Sochaux get off the front, and there's two men from Europe car in the break and two men from Cofidis, and they missed it. So
But there's only 4 of them in the race now.
I know, but even so.
They've only got Ladagnus, Poriol, Anthony Roux, and yesterday's winner Vichot, who did tremendously well to win that. So they're limited in numbers, but again, they'll be expected to do so much.
Vichot did a fantastic job yesterday, though. Really good ride by Arthur Vichot. I think it's Poriol who's gone off from the front of the peloton. Ladagnu was riding close to the front earlier on, but looking a little bit under pressure. Good track rider, Mathieu Ladagnu. This is the rest of the breakaway.
You have to be impressed with Martinez here for Euskaltel. He's been
absolutely third break
in this race. So yeah, still not pulled out. He was second yesterday. Still not pulled off that one, and that's his career. He's always ridden to get in the breakaway to try and get that stage.
Diego Machado too, looking impressive at the moment. Crikey, he's really going for it, isn't he? Brice Fillier. That's what you call high cadence riding. 500 meters to the summit, and he's going to plunge down the bottom of this and into the bottom of the Jouplan. If he can keep up this pace, Brian, he's going to be hard to catch.
Yeah, the group behind, still surprised that there's not been any reaction. Maybe we'll get a reaction from some of them in the last few hundred meters of this climb, but if not, because Brice Fillier went on the attack pretty much from the bottom of this third category climb, it's looking like the group behind want to stay together. They want to come to the bottom of the Jouplan together because it's obviously strength in numbers. So if they're sitting back and letting kind of Brice Fillier go, then over the other side, and we've still got quite a few kilometres to the base of the Jouplan. Then 19 riders behind, if they're all contributing to the pace, could bring them back.
9 minutes and 25 seconds behind, sorry, the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins is Brice Fillier. Were you a big gear grinder or a high cadence climber? Because I mean, when you started your career, you thought of yourself a bit more as a sprinter roadman.
Yeah, when I started, yeah, I was sprinter roadman, but when you went to Europe, again, it's finding your job, and my job became to help the likes of Andy Hampson, and help him in the foot slopes of the climbs, help him on the flat before the climbs, and that was my job. And I rode to the whole Giro d'Italia for Andy Hampson, and I then obviously had to change into becoming a climber. For me, anything over 5 kilometers was always going to be very difficult. But I used to race at like 68 kilograms, and I'm just under 6 foot, so it was difficult for me to keep that. So yeah, but in my my amateur days and the days in Britain, I could have a good kick, but then I found myself as a bit more of a climber. The rider from Saint-Alban-Leysse is actually Anthony Roux. This attacked the bunch, but again, in front of this group of 19 chasing Brice Fillier, they're not really interested, as we see the rider in the King of the Mountains jersey, Sarmiento, just coming up to take maximum points in this third category climb. Moncuti.
Second to maximum points.
Yeah, sorry, maximum points from the chase group, and Moncuti again up there towards the front. So yeah, Brice Fillier diving down the other side, still a long way to go, 37.6 kilometres. He has got almost 4 minutes, and they won't be too worried about him, but it's a long way to go, and he has given it some stick.
He's well fired up for today, Brice Fillier. Hasn't had a huge amount of success this year. He's had a couple of top 10 places in the back in April. Spanish race, Castellón, I think he got a top 5 in, but he's not really had a massively successful career since that win back in 2009. Barcelona to Arcales, stage 7 of the Tour de France, so it was then. He rode away by himself in the Agritubel kit, the blue Agritubel kit as it was in that year. 4 minutes now, the gap. Remember, he's 9 minutes and 25 seconds down, so he's no threat to Bradley Wiggins in the yellow jersey. At the moment, it's about that sort of time gap that you can really you get some of the better riders in a race who maybe have had one bad day, or maybe they're just targeting a stage win. They've taken an easier ride on some days. It's about that sort of gap that these guys will let get away, and yet those riders with that gap are perfectly capable of doing very, very good rides. Some guys who've got, you know, hours behind, they can't do an awful lot, and other guys who are in the break won't be able to finish off on a climb like this. But a rider like Brice Fillieux, he's taken a couple of days, taking a bit of time on a couple of days. They give him enough room, and he's a great climber.
That's what you do. You look at what you can get. It's all about exposure in races, and you know, you only have to look at the likes of you know, Team Sky. Why are Sky involved in our sport, and you know, why we're not seeing you know, other kind of sponsors coming in. Well, Sky are involved because, you know, they want to get more people using their service, and it's all about exposure. And you know, for Sauer Sojason, Brice Fillieux's come here. He's never going to win the Critérium du Dauphiné, and for his sponsors, Sauer Sojason, it's important to look at you know, how we can get the maximum exposure and get a stage win. And he's probably ridden within himself over the last few days, not given 100% in the time trial, and thought, this is a stage that I want to try and win. So he's got 1 minute and 15 on that chasing group now, so a healthy advantage on his own.
Minutes just over now. Good old weather today. A lot nicer in terms of breeze than it was in the time trial the other day. Bradley Wiggins commenting in the press that it was probably the windiest time trial he'd ever done the other day. He said he'd done a couple of really nasty weather ones in the UK, which is good practice because you get used to looking after yourself, but even so. .5 kilometers to go here on the Queen stage of the Critérium du Dauphiné. We finish in Morzine today. The Col de Jouplin is coming up, all category climb, and Brice Fillieux has attacked out of the breakaway group that he was in of 20 men. Ignatenko, Losada, Trofimov from Katusha, Faulkner and Roland from the Europe car, Biel Kadri and Christophe Riblon of AG2R Le Mondial, Machado of Radio Shack Nissan, Patashki and Sarmiento of Liquigas. They've mopped up as many points as they can in the mountains today. Remy de Gregorio and Moncoutier from Cofidis, Igor Martinez from Euskaltel, Malzano of Lampre, Hernandez of Saxo Bank, Grifko of Astana, Chavanel of Omega Pharma Quickstep. Brice Fillieux, we've just seen, has attacked out of that group of the Association team. Genier and Matteo Carrara from Vacon Soleil, and Genier, of course, from Argos Shimano. He's really going for it, Brice Fillieux. He's attacked on the Côte de Châtillon-sur-Cluse and just really put a massive amount of effort in. He's just sort of knocked it back a little bit, Brian. He sort of got into rhythm now rather than piling away like he was. But you have to wonder how much energy he's going to have left by the time he gets to the Col de Jouplin, which is not an easy climb.
Well, he knew that the group he was with, the group of 20, weren't really riding flat out, and you know, the bunch were going to drive it all the way to the bottom of the Jouplin, because, you know, a lot of the riders would not you know, likes of Danny Pate and Christian Nies riding at the front. You know, now they're getting some help from Lotto. So they get. These teams will drive it. It's been a kind of an easy pace today. They want to set it up to be a great climb. Van den Broek has to gain some time, so they don't want to have so many riders in front. They're thinking, you know, possibly of the stage, what Van den Broek is very capable of, and really the speed today hasn't been that high, and Briesville is thinking, right, I've got myself in possibly the race, the stage winning breakaway. I'm going to test it out on this third category climb and see who comes with me. Nobody's come with them. The team managers come up and went, you're on your own, son. You know, ride as hard as you can. He's already got 1 minute and 15. Back to the chasing group of 19, but also between the group of 19 and the bunch, there is one rider from Française des Jeux, and that's Anthony Roux. Anthony Roux, yeah. Is kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. So, and he's got 1 minute and 38 seconds on the bunch. So the bunch have now decided to whip it up. Sky have just been controlling things. Lotto have decided, right, this isn't good enough for us. You've got on the overall, you've got Van den Broek is at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. He can possibly try and find his way into the podium, but he's got quite a lot of good riders in front of him. So Lotto have decided, right, we want to whip it up, and if we can win a stage, then again it's all about exposure and coming to the Dauphine, the Critérium du Dauphiné. Every one of these teams has got a goal, and I'm pretty sure that most of these teams come with a minimum goal of at least one stage. We've only got today and we've got tomorrow, and so with Sky just controlling things, 4 minutes 16 to the front of this race, Lotto have decided, well, we need a bit of this exposure, and are going to try and bring it back to possibly about 2 minutes at the bottom of the Jeu plan for possibly a win for Van den Broek in Morzine.
Under 30k. And this long straight road heading off towards the Jouplan, extending out ahead of climber Brice Feliu, winner in Arcalis, the Tour de France, his debut Tour de France, when he was riding for the smaller Agri 2 Bell team. They made pens for cows for milking. Strange. In the modern world, it was a strange choice as a sponsor for a team, but teams have been sponsored by all sorts of weird things in the past. Anyway, it took a win for them.
It's just all about brand awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the end, exposure.
Brand awareness to whom,
yeah.
Though? That's the thing. So Association make dairy products, yogurts mainly, and stuff like that. Certainly, it's one of their lines. Right, we'll take a short break.
There are machines that can do things for us. Machines that can see right through us. And machines that want to be us. But they are not us. There is one machine so instinctive, so seductive, it's as alive as we are. It doesn't click or buzz. It roars. Jaguar.
There are phones that don't, and phones that do. Share music with your BBM friends on the new BlackBerry Curve 9320.
HD TV. Incredible, eh? Unless you have to fork out for it every month. No one likes to get stung like that. Hey, get that back, you little... With the Premier Collection from Virgin Media, you get TiVo, a brilliant set-top box with loads of HD channels at no extra cost. Plus, you get an additional HD box included. So, you can watch something else in another room and it doesn't cost you a penny extra. Isn't that right, Rich Meister? Yeah, he loves his HD. The Premier Collection, only from Virgin Media, with TiVo and up to 60 meg fibre optic broadband included. Check out our offers online.
Dappers just hovering about the 4-minute mark with under 30 kilometres to go for Brice Feliu. The rest of the breakaway behind, working quite well through and off.
1 minute and 50. And you can just see the riders in the 19-man breakaway. Almost more than half of them are prepared to ride on the front.
Absolutely.
And you know, he's pulling away. 1 minute and 50. Wow. He really is giving it some, and you know, obviously in the run into this climb of the Joux Plan, is he going to leave it all in the valley? Is he going to have enough left when we come to the climb? Because this is 11.6 kilometres, average 8.5, and it climbs 989 metres, so it's a very tough climb, and he seems to want to have as much advantage as possible. But Lotto decided to come to the front. You just see Anthony Roux not too far in front now. He'll be swept up. And Lotto want to try and get something from this Critérium du Dauphiné, because they have been very quiet in this race.
Yes, indeed. It's not been a spectacularly, well, not successful is the wrong word. It's not been a spectacularly lit up Dauphiné for Lotto. I'm sure they'll want to get a little bit more than they have out of it, and today is a very good test of legs for some of these riders. And remember, Jurgen van den Broek is only 2 minutes and 22 seconds down. Again, could be game plan. Just hang in there, wait for the last 2 days when there's the big mountains, finishing on the rundown from the Joux Plan. Jurgen van den Broek and Jelle van den Dert are going to have to absolutely try and kick the stuffing out of Bradley Wiggins and Team Sky on that particular climb of the Joux Plan. I'm not sure so far we've seen that.
Look behind you.
Who, me or him?
No, Anthony, look behind him. He's
just, yeah, he needs to look up and slow down. He's not going to get anywhere at all. Just ease up, stop using the energy up. Yeah, Van den Dert and Van den Broek are going to have to really put the hammer down and try and shed Bradley Wiggins maybe for the stage win. It's a difficult balancing act. It's the wonderful thing about cycling. It is this incredible balancing act.
Again, it's what they can get out of it. They have got two gifted climbers, Van den Broek and Van den Dert, and they want to try and get something. Team Sky, they know now, are happy for these guys to stay out there, and with the 20 riders in front of the peloton, with so many of the other teams having nothing from this race, it's you know, what can we try and get? And we said right from the top of the show, Astana didn't have anybody here. They sent Grifko across in the Col de Colombier. Lotto have got nobody in there. France said you didn't have anybody in there. That's why Anthony Roux tried to go across. He saw Grifko do it, but that was the last train across, and he's been swept up. And Garmin Barracuda, again, another team, have got nobody in this front move, so, and they haven't had anything from this Critérium du Dauphiné anyway, so it comes down to,
true, you
don't want to leave it all to the final stage. You want to try and grab something, and a stage win here is a confidence booster. So Van den Dert and Van den Broek, bit of pressure on them now. They put the team on the front, and it's going to be down to them to try and go on the attack, because these riders, it's 3 minutes and 25 back to the yellow jersey group, but it's only, I think, 1:45 between this group and the yellow jersey group of Bradley Wiggins. So you can just see them, they're not, there's too many of them, they're not prepared to help each other. And I'm surprised that Vokler not going on the attack. He's the sort of rider that's I would have thought would have tried to follow Brice Feliu. As we see, it's 1:42 back to this group of 19, and then a further 3 minutes and 21 back to the yellow jersey group.
Yeah, it's sort of staying fairly stable at the moment. Brice Feliu is doing a very good job. It's just a case of how much he's got left in the tank when he gets to the Joux Plan. to be honest. With this sort of gap, it's looking all right at the moment. The climb itself, just about 11.5 kilometers in length, 11.7 to be precise. An average of 8.5%, but it is actually a wicked climb. It's ramping all over the shop. But there are other teams. I mean, you were talking about Garmin not having somebody in that break, Brian. To be honest, I mean, Le Mervel is clearly not going particularly well. We've seen nothing of Le Mervel, and you usually see him somewhere near towards the front. They've had nothing in the way of sprinting particularly.
He's done a ride.
Oh yeah, he has. Yeah, Samuel Sanchez has done a ride because he fell very heavily on the first road stage and bruised his ribs very heavily. They thought he'd broken his ribs at one point, and as anybody who's ever bruised their ribs severely, as my friend Jez Hastings will tell you, I did a couple of years ago out riding with him, it takes a long time to start feeling anything less than sore, and so he's done a really good ride being in there. And going back to Garmin Barracuda, so has Daniel Martin. He suffered. He was involved in a crash. He suffered, but he's managed to keep it together, and he's still in here. I was going to say, I'm not sure Garmin Barracuda have anybody to be able to do anything at the moment.
I was thinking David Miller is looking okay as we hit the bottom of the climb for Brice-Fileu. David Miller's looking strong enough. He had a good time trial, and he was the sort of rider that could possibly get into this group in front. Le Mervel, again, sitting 51st at 9 minutes and 53. He's another rider that could possibly have got in this group, but there are a few other teams missing. Obviously, Movistar came here with the Kobo. He's climbed off in this race, but again, we haven't seen much of them. They have got one of the kind of young climbing sensations, Quintana. Again, we've not seen anything of him. Maybe he'll come to the fore on the Joux Plan. Whether a lot of riders are sitting back and just waiting for this brute of a climb, we'll just have to wait and see. So the front,
they've got Amador as well, remember, and Amador is well up in the. I expect Amador to try and do something today, especially on the descent. Iman Nibali. Brice-Fileu is on the final climb of the day, the Col de Joux, and the remaining 19 riders who are not really working together, but they still have a gap of about 140 over the peloton. They are coming very shortly to this Col de Joux, and after a while it'll be every man for himself on that hill. And then as they turn in to begin the climb, it'll be down to the big guns behind to look at each other, mark each other, and see if they can break the spirit and the legs of Britain's Bradley Wiggins. And BMC have come to the front, having seen Lotto Belisol do some of the work. The mass ranks of BMC and Cadel Evans are now here on the front. Lots of Sky jerseys looking around at each other. Edvald Boasson-Hagen moves up to the front. We just saw Richie Porte on the other side of the peloton looking and seeing where everybody is. They've been shut off a little bit here.
It's just about positioning now. Yep. That's what they're trying to do, BMC. They're not trying to bring these guys back. They're just trying to put Evans in the best possible position right at the bottom of this climb. You can just see the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins being pushed back a little, and Sky really need to have a look around, try and get him on the wheel and get him back up towards the front, because there's going to be a bit of a battle to the bottom of this climb.
Ooh, careful, careful. Around they go. Michael Shah leads them into the first bend and into the lower slopes of the Col de Joux, 11.7 kilometers. It's only about 3–4% average at this point. A little bit of a kick, first of all. And then starts to ramp up. By the time they get to about 3 kilometers, there's a wicked little climb, little ramp that goes up for about 500 meters or so, of about 12, 13, 14% even. Then it drops down a little bit. Looks like you might get a little bit of a break, and then suddenly, wallop, you're hit in the face with 10, 12% or more. before dropping down a little bit again and up once more towards the finish. It is a wicked climb, this one. Horrible thing.
Yeah, they're starting to pull the cars out this gap, so this gap coming down very quickly now. You can just see some of the team cars that we just passed them on the left-hand side of our screen as Switzoff and Gilbert at the front for Sky on the right and BMC on the left-hand side.
Cars on the left-hand side of the road there, left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side of the road, handing out bottles whilst they can. Last possible real chance that anybody can get a bottle or anything that they need here.
You can just see Barredo looking after Kelderman. He's a wee bit further back in about 20th place at the moment. So Barredo, with his experience, trying to bring Kelderman back up to the front of this main group.
Samuel Sanchez, the Olympic champion. Number 101 there. Just at the back in front of Simon Gerrans. Back at the head of the race, though, Brice Feliu is by himself, and look at the riders already getting tailed off here. Kovacic, sorry, gone. 3 of the Lamprey boys already tailed off, and that's Tony Galopin. Now Galopin, it's not his natural environment climbing mountains, but he's not that bad. But I think he's possibly a little bit worse for wear today. There we are. Had a crash on the descent of the Col de la Chaux early on in the stage. Jurgen van den Broek.
Van den Dert.
Sorry, it's Van den Dert at the front, sorry. Yep. Looking back to see where Jurgen van den Broek is. He's on the right-hand side of your screen with the jersey open. They're sort of spoiled for choice, really, in terms of climbers at the moment, Flanders.
Yeah, well, it looks as if Van den Dert is riding for Van den Broek today. He just wants to... They want to try and win this stage, so they came to the front before this climb with the whole team trying to bring this gap right down, and they have. It's only 2 minutes and 27 seconds, and Van den Dert setting a tempo now because they want to try and grab this stage win today. They don't want Brice Feliu to stay away to the finish. They want to try and grab this stage win because they think that possibly the podium was too far for them with the amount of riders and the amount of time he's got to make up.
Little gaps beginning to appear, more than little gaps in some cases, as riders slip off the back. David Lopez suffering. That's Lindemann of the Vacansoleil squad. Sorensen, the Danish national champion. And there is Alexander Vinokurov. Vinokurov carrying a bit, one has to say. And he has not really enjoyed the hills too much. He was dropped on the first hill of the day as Edvald Bosenhagen takes over the pace setting. I would imagine that there's a few nerves in the camp of Sky at the moment. We're just got to keep control of it today. Do you get nervous in this sort of stage, Brian, when you're in that sort of position, or do you just think, right, it's my job, we get on with it?
Yeah, it's more your job, and it's just about concentration. Some people would get nervous maybe coming before the climb. You see Dan Martin just there in that group. He's done well to stay in this race, and you maybe get slightly nervous coming into the climb, but once you're on the climb, it's just about concentration. As they're starting to pick up with the back markers from this front group. This was Grifko, who went on the attack on the Colombier, went across the front group and has now been caught. Van den Dert just he's done his turn and just swings straight over. That's a bit of a surprise that he's not trying to stay in there for a bit longer.
Well, I am, yes.
Nibali getting dropped as well for liquid gas, so
that's surprising.
Big surprises.
Very surprising. Vincenzo Nibali not enjoying this at all today. I was thinking that would be a good rider to attack on the descent today, certainly for the stage win. He had a go yesterday. The man just ahead of him is Simone Stortoni. And I'm very surprised to see Nibali dropped so early, but it happens. Just got to get it. Maybe the initial pace was a bit high for him. He doesn't necessarily like racing into the bottom of climbs, Brian, and he might just ride himself back onto the wheel here.
Yeah, they have taken it fairly easy-ish today, so they've not kind of raced into the bottom of the climbs. They have raced right from the bottom of this climb, but for me, even Nibali has to be here. I just think we're into this race. It has been fairly difficult. It was a hard day yesterday, and then obviously the time trial the day before. So for Nibali, he's just maybe just not into the rhythm and doesn't have the condition. But he's still got a few weeks to go to the Tour de France.
.214 is the gap between the yellow jersey and this man, Brice Filiu. The run down to, he's got about 8 kilometers to go to get to the top of this and run down the fearsome descent into Morzine. But to take a stage win would really be another big step back up in his career. The remaining riders behind are breaking up. It's about 1:30 is the gap from the front of this sort of rest of the pursuing group. But they are breaking up into smaller groups as some of them feel they can't hack the pace anymore. That's Igor Martinez with Pierre Rolland in his wheel. Rolland knows what it's like to win a big stage as well as a young rider. Brice Filiu did it at Arcalis. Of course, that man there, Pierre Rolland, did it in one of the most famous mountains of all, not so very far away, in Alpe d'Huez last year. There's Sarmiento. He's taken a whole hatful of points today for the mountains classification. And now looking back to see where everybody is. I wonder if he's looking back, wondering where Vincenzo Nibali is. Sylvain Chavanel, the French champion, with, I think, is that, I'm not sure, it's Cadre or Riblon just ahead.
Yeah, Cadre. Riblon's got yellow Mavic shoes.
Oh, he's got the yellow Mavic shoes on today, has he? Riblon. Good climber, Christophe Riblon. Very good, aggressive rider. This is the front group, Diego Machado. Now on the front ahead of Pierre Rolland and then Alexandre Genier of Argos Shimano. Good to see them in the mix.
Yeah, no, definitely. They are preparing for the Tour de France. They're one of the wildcard riders, or team, sorry. The rider in the centre of the picture in the red is Di Gregorio. Again, Team Sky doing a tremendous amount of work in the front with Boasson Hagen and doing a great job today. As we said yesterday, they were toiling a bit parts of the stage, and they've recovered well and doing a fantastic job. 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and this man here, Brice Filiu, who went on the attack in the penultimate climb here in this stage, is starting to look a bit weary. And you know, still the stage is up for grabs here, but again, the pace being set by Boasson Hagen is just hard enough that it's whittled this main group down to what, about 30 odd riders. Barredo now getting dropped from this group is a bit of a surprise, but yeah, the stage won, but no attacks yet from the likes of Evans or any of the other contenders yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you get, you've got a bit of a headwind, as you can see. If you get Edvald Boasson Hagen in the form he is at the moment on the front, just setting a hard pace, it's pretty difficult to attack at any point. Vincenzo Nibali in trouble, as Biel Kadri is getting brought back by the peloton. Richie Porte looks behind him to see where Wiggins is. Wiggins is happy to look behind him. They still look comfortable at the moment. Van den Broek with the shirt open for Lotto Belisol. The red flashes on the shorts.
Yeah, this is impressive with Team Sky.
It's really impressive. They're just eating people up and spitting them out. But as we know, Brian, it's not necessarily about the steepness of the mountain. It's about the pace at which you set about going about your work on it.
Yeah, and Team Sky are setting a good pace, and as you said earlier, it does get steeper towards the top of this climb, so difficult now. Riblon and Chavanel, as Riblon's tried to get some water. Oh, again, didn't want to give him it. Just a smile there. One of the Swan Ewers from Amiga Pharma didn't give him a bottle, and he's just, you know, gasping for it at the moment.
Clearly, well, he had Sohail Shabanov right behind him, so he can't.
But he never took the bottle either.
No, but he did. But the Soignier wasn't to know that, was he? No. Poor old Soignier. Christophe Riblon taken back, 1-2-3 back to the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins. The red jerseys of BMC. Typical style over the front of the bike, head down for Cadel Evans, shirt gaping open, yellow shoes and red outfit of BMC. Some very impressive pace. We see it with all teams who can do this, will do this. Set a pace that's high enough for nobody to attack out of the front of the bunch with any great force. Thomas Faulkner being brought back.
Well, that's what Wiggle wants. He just wants a steady, hard tempo, and yeah, just practice makes perfect. And over the last few days, they've been able to practice this, which is, you know, good for the Tour de France coming up. And you can just see the main group now. There's only about 30 riders left, and as we thought right from the start of this stage today, a lot of the riders giving this climb a lot of respect and expecting big attacks. And this race is split all over the place.
Meanwhile, Brice Fellier continues on his way. Actually, he's doing okay. He seems to have been settled down into a reasonable rhythm again. 1:52 he has over the peloton. And although he's in and out of the saddle a fair amount, he's just got to keep going now for another 6.5 kilometers to get to the top and then plunge down the other side. It'd be difficult to catch him once he gets there, so it's really a race for 6.5 kilometers.
Yeah, this is a show of strength from Team Sky. And you just see Brice Fellier just asking how far's the summit. He is starting to really feel it now, and if Team Sky can take this, not only will they be looking after the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins, then if they keep numbers there, they could be thinking the stage as well.
I was thinking the same thing. I was exactly thinking the same thing. If they keep the numbers there and they can keep pulling back Brice Fellier, who's to say that Wiggins himself might not go for the win or give it to somebody?
Yeah, you'd give it to someone else. I think so. If we came into town, I wouldn't be surprised if there's still numbers there. I'm not too sure about Boasson-Hagen, if he's going to hang in for the whole of this climb, but Wiggins is the sort of rider that he'll just lead into Morzine and try and lead out one of his teammates, maybe Michael Rogers or Richie Porte, someone like that.
He's quite old school like that. Alberto Losada leads Pierre Rolland, Diego Machado, Igor Martinez, Matteo Carrara and Remigio Gregorio. They're almost caught. Oh, blimey. There's a very strong breakaway group. I think it's one of the reasons people have accused us quite regularly recently of being a bit pro-Sky. That is absolutely not the case. We're pro-good riding. And they happen to have the yellow jersey on their shoulders at the moment, and they are showing how strong they are in this race. This breakaway was full of strong riders, Brian. Not one of these riders is a weak rider, and had some very, very accomplished riders in it. And look at the way they've been brought back, as Boasson-Hagen has done a huge turn on the front, and now it's his turn to just get over at what sort of pace he can. I'm not surprised he's a bit knackered, but they are riding exceptionally strongly, especially this man.
Well, when you compare it to teams, you know, of Tour de France winners in the past, Team Sky are looking exceptionally well in the mountains, in this race especially. They've controlled things. They were on the back foot slightly a bit yesterday, but Bradley Wiggins done the right thing and jumping across to the Evans group and, you know, taking the pressure off. It was a tough day yesterday. You can just see, you know, when you look back to the Lance Armstrong era, this is what he used to do, of putting so many of his teammates in front of him.
Tony Martin out the back door here. Tony Martin has gone from the front here. The pace being set by Team Sky has shed nearly everybody now. If you go back, when we get up back into that shot, do not be deceived by what you see as being a fairly big group. They've just brought back about 15 or 16 riders, and Evans and Van den Broek out of the saddle here trying to stay with everybody. There's some real suffering going on trying to stay with the pace at Sky here.
Yeah, definitely. And with Martin gone, Rogers is the next person. Rogers now moves up into, if it stays like this, into second place overall. And you know, Evans again just sitting back there. Take nothing away from you know, Evans and Vandenbroek, and I think it's Kurienka still in there, but there's only about 20 riders now in the front of this main group. Say David Moncuti for Cofidis, but what a performance today here on the Jouplan by Team Sky. I know they've been taking it fairly easy all day, but you still have to ride on the front, and it's all going to plan at the moment.
Alexandre Genier bravely plugging on by himself here. 1:32 for Brice Feuilleux. He's lost another, what, 10 seconds or so in a kilometre. He's still going well, Brice Feuilleux. He's not the most stylish of climbers, is he? He absolutely pumps away at the pedals, hammers away at the pedals. But, oh dear, that's not looking good. That's looking rather square-shaped, Brian.
Yeah, he's the further you up this climb, the harder it gets, and
that's evil. It's horrible.
He is starting to show some telltale signs of you know, cracking here, as we see Luis Leon Sanchez now, the next one to be dropped.
Absolutely. Out the back door goes Luis Leon. He's sitting now with Mathieu Carrara, who was in the breakaway, and Jesus Hernandez. And Luis Leon, we've always said this week already, Brian, he just suffers when it comes to the really big mountains. He's not strong enough, he's not light enough to make it in the really big mountains. It's a horrible climb, this one. I got an almighty kicking on this 2 years ago. I really did. Nearly as bad as the Pla de Beret, actually, which is even worse. But the descent from this is absolutely magnificent. I blame triathletes, they're always way too fit.
There you go.
Right. Quintana on the attack. But when we say the attack, it's sort of not the sort of fiery attacks we'd have seen maybe 25 years ago when the pace was a bit less. When the pace is so high, there's not much you can do in attack except just ride slightly faster.
Yeah, it just goes to show you the pace that they're setting at the moment. And Quintana, we thought, you know, he'd wait to the kind of big mountains like this, and again the pace setting by Team Sky, you know, he just accelerated slightly. Again, at the top of this climb, 4.7 kilometres. Brice Feuilleux is not going to be able to hang on, and unbelievable here. It's just look at the damage that Richie Porte and Bosenhagen has done. Is whittling all this group down. Roland goes, so many riders, and again, if we look at the overall, Tony Martin's gone. Is Kelderman, the white jersey, still in there? And we know that Evans is still in there.
Evans is just about in there, but he's out the saddle a lot of the time trying to hang in there, that's for sure. And Jürgen van den Broek is still in there. He's at 2 minutes and 22 seconds down. Impressive riding by Porte, Bosenhagen and Wiggins, of course, at the front.
Hopefully we'll be able to go back, because it looked as if Coppel's now struggling. He's another rider sitting 10th overall, but I saw a BMC rider struggling.
Kelderman.
Kelderman's gone.
Kelderman is just ahead of Coppel, so he's gone as well. Quintana is now trying to accelerate and get away across to Brice Feuilleux.
Well, if this continues, Bradley Wiggins and Michael Rogers moves up into second place. Evans is still in there. He's sitting, obviously, provisionally third. Chris Froome will move up. So, again, a very select group. Machado's still in there. Wow, he's climbing well. But this is the...
There's Wilco.
This is a disappointment for Wilco Kelderman. Done a terrific time trial and starting to struggle in this. He's got absolutely no teammates.
Still not that far behind though.
No teammates to help him. Luis Leon Sanchez has been dropped. Barredo's been dropped.
He's just around the corner actually, Wilco Kelderman. So he's fighting by himself in the Best Young Riders jersey. The specialist time trialist from Rabobank.
Yeah, TJ Van Garden is still in there for BMC with Evans.
Oh, poor old Alexandre Genier. He's trying so hard to stay there.
You get Peter Winning there for Orica Green Edge.
This is really tough, this section here. I remember this. This is really nasty. It gets very, very steep just here and around the next bend as well. This is where we'll see another group of riders sliding gently off the back. And look at Brice Fillier. He looks a bit like that guy from the Belleville Rendezvous cartoon, doesn't he, when he pedals? He's so gawky on a bike. When you watch him, when he's pushing the pedals down like this, he almost jumps the front wheel off the ground at times, pulls it up when he's really pushing hard on those pedals.
Yeah, he's not smooth at all.
Nobody could accuse him of being stylish.
He's using every energy in his body.
Absolutely. And that's what you do. I mean, that's why you grip those bars so tight, using them as a brace against the rest of your body and your core muscles as well. This is a very, very select group. Climbing well here. Vasily Kirienka in the middle. That's the best we've seen him climbing for a while, Kirienka. He's a very strong man. Evans looks as though he's feeling the pressure a little bit. He knows how to dig in. Wiggins looking very comfortable and calm. Rogers just behind him. Yeah, Evans knows that he's got a real fight on his hand in less than a month's time if this continues for the man you're watching now, Bradley Wiggins. Richie Port doing a spectacular job. And Orica Greenedge have a man in here as well. Peter Weening, I would imagine, although we've not seen a real shot of him at all.
No, it's Peter Weening on the back, and Chris Froome just comes up and has a chat with, or whatever you can call it, a chat at this speed, going up the Jeu Plan and just positioning Chris Froome in front of him. Michael Rogers will just sit behind the yellow jersey. Jürgen van den Broek, number 31 there. Karl Evans, VMC Peter Weening, Kirienka, and the last person at the back is the Zubeldia. And Machado just hanging on there from ground. He was in the front group of 20 riders, or 19 riders went away, and he's hanging in there with his skin in his teeth.
Just about. Good to see Jaime Zubeldia. Yep. And good to see Peter Weening as well. Weening feels he's had a difficult time. He's adjusted well to his new team. 54 seconds with 3 kilometers to go to the summit, and it's beginning to look a little bit more difficult for Brice Fillier. Brice Fillier has taken the initiative today, but he put an awful lot of effort in getting away on the Côte de Châtillon-sur-Cluse. It won't be too long now before they escape. This is another, I think, 2 switchbacks for the pellet, or what remains of the bunch here, the favourites group. And they go through very heavily wooded section, which you just saw Brice Fillier in. And soon they'll be coming out onto the top near the ski station. There's a cafe at the top where I crawled my way up.
No,
only to be cheered by Phil Anderson going, "Good day, Dave, go a bit faster, mate." And they're all gone down the other side. So I had to hightail it down off the other side to catch them.
This is coming down quickly now. Yep. 47 seconds now. The chalkboard just gave him 45 seconds. And yeah, Richie Port doing a great job. And Richie Port, Chris Froome, Bradley Wiggins, Rogers, Van den Broek, Evans, Weening, Kirienka, Zubeldia, and Machado just at the back with Quintana for Movistar just in front. He's just sitting away, 50 meters. No, he's 50 meters in front.
For such a good climber, Quintana is not getting away. Diego Machado is fighting like a dog at the back here. Just hang in, just ease the pace, just eases up a little bit here as it gets a little bit less steep. And then suddenly, wallop, it's going to hit them again as they come out of the trees here.
When you look at the numbers in this front group, this is highly impressive by Team Sky. We said it yesterday. Yeah, said it yesterday. It was a difficult stage for them yesterday, and you know, looking good going into the Tour de France in a few weeks' time. A lot of other teams will have to, you know, go and look at what they get out of the Critérium du Dauphiné and the Tour de Suisse starting today as well. So some of these teams have got some work to do.
Brice Filieux has just looked across to his right, down from up again. I see on your left-hand side of the screen, that's where he was, and he's seeing this man here, Quintana, coming up the road. When he gets around the corner, Quintana, he'll be able to see Brice Filieux for the first time. Filieux's about 23 seconds ahead. Machado grimly hanging in there as long as he possibly can, and slowly slipping back. He had a good day yesterday. He's had a good day today being in the break, but I'm afraid it's over for Machado as far as staying with the front boys are concerned. It is mightily impressive. Still 4 riders here. Richie Porte setting the pace. Chris Froome second in line, and then Bradley Wiggins, and then Michael Rogers. Rogers has had a very good preparation to this race. He won in Bayern overall, which is the first overall title I've seen him win for a long time. Still Evans hanging in here. Jürgen van den Broek, Peter Weening, Vasily Kirienka, and Heimat Ubeldir on the back. He's still plugging away, but he doesn't look very comfortable either. Not many of them look very comfortable, to be honest. And I'm not sure if Kirienka and Zubeldia aren't going to take 3 or 4 bike lengths by the time we get to the top. Seconds on the clock there. We had 23 from Race Radio.
Yeah, that's to Quintana. Quintana is still in off the front of this 9-man group now, with 4 Team Sky in it. So 26 seconds back to, you can just see Quintana kind of halfway across the gap to Filieux. Does look very much like you know, Sky are really wanting to bring everything back towards the top of this climb, and you know, maybe be thinking of you know, even having the stage win. You would think so, with having 4 riders. There's Brice Filieux on the right with the blue helmet on, just about to be caught by the green helmet of Quintana. He looks around and he must be absolutely demoralised.
Oh, look at that. Gets on the drops and thinks I'll try and hang in with Quintana if I can, but no. Day over for Brice Filieux. Brave effort. He put so much effort in, and Quintana just continuing on his way. Much smaller climber.
He's already had a win this year with the Tour of Murcia earlier on in the season.
Yes, he had a very good early season actually, but sort of keeping himself quiet up to now. On the way to the Tour, I would imagine. Richie Porte still plugging away. You have to wonder at what time in the career Richie Porte will be a team leader in his own right. It's one of those situations, isn't it? It's a catch-22 situation for so many of these riders. They learn so much, they get well looked after, they get in one of the best teams in the world. In this race, they're certainly the best team in the race. Brice Filieux will just have to hang in the back of this group if he can. But riders like Richie Porte, of course, you think, how long is it likely to be before they become leaders of teams in their own right?
Well, I think he's had some opportunities in the past. Going
Still
to events.
Very young, though.
Yeah, going to events and leading, and you know, he came to Team Sky and he slotted in really well. Sometimes people do take some time, but it's just the companionship with Bradley Wiggins. I know they do a lot of training over in Tenerife and up Mount Tidy, and you know, it's obviously paying off. This, I can't, you know, when you look at this performance by Team Sky, it's ranked right up there with any other team performance I've seen over the last last decade. You only have to look at you know, back to the kind of Lance era, where we see a team that, you know, like you know, US Postal and things like that come to the front and do this. And you know, we were talking the other day about ticking the boxes. Bradley's ticked the box in the prologue. He's got through the kind of flatter stages with the help of his teammates. Tremendous time trial, and again on this this mountain stage on the Jeu Plan, again the whole team and Bradley ticking that box there. So it looks as if they've got a complete rider, complete team going into the Tour de France. And you know, how is Mark Cavendish going to fit into this? What lead out guys is he going to have? Because
Bernie.
Yeah, it's yeah,
that's it. That's it.
So many other teams are going into the Tour de France. How can we beat the Sky Train? Well, the whole Sky Train won't be at the Tour de France. Sky are looking so much to the yellow jersey, and with Bradley Wiggins.
I have to be fair though, some of these guys who are doing their work here, the bigger guys, Christian Knaes and so forth, Svitsov, who were doing work earlier, remember these guys will provide some sort of lead out for Mark if he's at the Tour, when he's at the Tour, in the correct stages. It's not bad practice for them to ride together like that. They do tend to ride together like that, but in the other stages they will have to work entirely for Bradley. It's not the lead out train for the wins that's going to be the problem, because Mark is bar none the fastest man in the world. Just ask Brett Lancaster, who we were talking to yesterday, fastest man in the world, that's it. Or Matt Goss, he'll say fastest man in the world. It's not so much the lead out that's the problem, it's how it's getting over these. It's having the companionship to get over these, and I think Bernie's going to be the only man with him, to be honest.
And I also think that Mark Cavendish is very capable of winning on his own. You can only remember when he lost Renshaw at the Tour a couple of years ago, he still went and won stages. So he doesn't need the big lead out, and that's where some of the other teams maybe benefit of. If Orica Green Edge want to go to the Tour with Goss and do the lead out, you know, it's up to Mark and Bernie to work off that lead out and try and win the stages. It's going to be maybe slightly more difficult than having a complete Sky Train, but Team Sky want to win the Tour de France. That's what they've set out to do when they first formed, and this is the best opportunity, and the performance they're doing today is ranked up with any performance I've seen since I've been watching cycling.
Quintana has 17 seconds over the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins as they get towards the summit. Jill BH saying you should bring a lot of feelings. You should ride all the mountain stages first in the Tour. I do try and ride as much as possible, as many as possible. Not always possible. It takes a long time to ride up a mountain when you're as slow as me. But you've got to get to the end to do the commentary. But yes, it's very. I think most commentators. I know Chris Boardman and Rolf Sorensen and other riders. Graham Jones, who ex-rider of course. We all ride these stages if we can. Jackie Dion I ride with a lot.
But it's never pretty though, is it?
It's never pretty. It's a lycra blob fest. But having said that, it is really useful.
Yes.
It's incredibly useful. And even people like yourself, Brian, who've ridden all these climbs, or a lot of these climbs, you forget. You forget what it's like. It's very, very useful exercise to do.
And also you forget how fit you were.
True.
Until you ride them again. But magnificent. But yeah, we've got 21 seconds to Quintana, and he can go downhill as well. He can time trial, so he's trying to look for this stage win now for Movistar. He's increased the lead slightly. It really depends on if Team Sky want to, as they go past the Union Jack there, and as we've got an Aussie at the front, 2 Englishmen and another Aussie, so you get an Aussie sandwich. So yeah,
an Aussie sandwich. I don't know what to think about that. That's plenty of British number plates up here. How iconic is that? Bradley Wiggins passes a Land Rover, waving a flag out the back. How much more British do you want? Here we go. This is the little run up now to the cafe on the left-hand side. At the top of this ski station, wide open here. It's not difficult. And they're going to come piling down now. Richie Port has led for a good half of this climb, with Edvald Bosenhagen doing the work earlier on Jake. Tuppen saying he'll have Mark will have Bernie. Evans goes on the attack over the top. He's going to try and put something in, going to try and get this stage win on the descent. He's a long way down on the general, trying to do something. 1 minute and 44 seconds.
Well, just about to say, absolutely no attacking from anybody else. And I know Evans came up and just over the top of that climb. He's with 4 Sky, he's not going to get anywhere. They're going to bring him back, which they are doing at the moment. But I was kind of surprised. We were waiting for the attacks from some of the other major contenders, and Evans has shown that, you know, Bradley Wiggins has shown he's matched Evans in the climb of the Jeu Plan, for Evans just to go on the attack over the top.
I think there must be deep respect for with each other. They're both fairly aggressive riders. They're both not afraid to take control, and they have to. This is a brilliant descent. Quintana is away, has 18 seconds of an advantage over this ultra select group behind, including Evans, Van den Broek, the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins, with 3 other Sky men with him. Richie Porte is here, Chris Froome and Michael Rogers, and it's Evans who leads them down at the moment. Van den Broek, the white helmet there, you can see. Peter Weening is in here. Vasily Kirienka of Movistar also is. Thubeldier still on the back, he is. Heimer Thubeldier of Radio Shack Nissan. This is a twisting, turning descent. Come screaming down this bit here, and there are 2 or 3 vicious hairpins within the first 3 kilometers here. It's an absolutely evil left-hander, but as you get further down and it begins to get wooded over again, it's a very, very fast descent through the middle. I said to Sean Kelly once when we were commentating, how fast have you ever gone down one of these descents? And he said, I think the fastest I've ever recorded was on the Jeu Plan, the descent from the Jeu Plan, this descent into Morzine, 121 kilometers an hour. And I just sort of looked at him because he had his cycle computer on. I said, you're kidding me? He said, no, 121 was the fastest I ever got on that descent. Not obviously all the way down, but that was the maximum speed I attained. And he said, you know what? The great Swiss rider, Urs Fröhler, came past me and I couldn't hold his wheel. And Fröhler went on to descend faster than he did.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised there that the way Evans came up and tried to go on it, he wasn't going to go anywhere, and maybe it just might have been a kind of rush of blood there, but he wanted to seemed to be trying, but he attacked over the top. As we can see, it doesn't go downhill.
Not
rises up.
away.
It rises
Only
up
just
over here,
around this corner there.
and then downhill again. So he wasn't going to get away, and yeah, Team Sky just controlling things again. 13 seconds to this man, Quintana. Evans still possible stage win up for him.
That's what he wants. I think.
That's why I was a bit surprised that he went on the attack over the top, because he just has to sit there and go, look, I have been matched. I've been outmatched by Team Sky, so I'm just going to sit here and think of the stage win, because the other 5 riders behind the Team Sky train are all thinking that. But again, Richie Porte at the front with Chris Froome, Bradley Wiggins, the yellow, Michael Rogers. Michael Rogers must be thinking of trying for that stage win as well. So could be a good day for Australia today.
Yeah, what an Australian day. Evans, Rogers, Porte, all up here. Time to go, says Richie. This just gets quicker and quicker and quicker down here. Really does. Here we go, one of the left-handers. Thanks to the expert advice of Mr. Kelly, I managed to take back the 5 triathletes down here, which is good. It was just, we were mentioning earlier, it's amazing how professional riders can remember descents and climbs when they haven't been over them for 20 years. And Sean was absolutely pinpoint accurate about where you should be going, you know, what the descent was like and so forth. And it is absolutely super fast, this one.
Well, this is, yeah, Quintana has got a great opportunity of this stage, right? He's going to take chances, believe me. He's going to take some chances down this climb. He's used to going up mountains, and I know he can descend. You've got to remember that Team Sky will not take any chances in this climb. They're hoping that they can get down to the bottom of this climb and it's still 15, 16 seconds, and they can try possibly win the stage. So Quintana has got it all to do. Even if he gets to the bottom of this climb with 20, 30 seconds, he's still got a good chance of winning this stage.
Sweeping narrow roads. Most of the time the camber goes with you here. And there's a section just after this where you get into the trees again, and it's just, it plummets down, speeds up, and you can see straight through all the corners. And there's this little S-bends here and there, and you can see, here we go.
Marino's got across to them.
You can see straight through at that point, and you know there's going to be nothing there. Well, there you go.
Marino's got across to them, thinking, you know, he's got possibility of winning 2 stages, and so it's Cadel Evans, the rider in BMC, halfway down this group. Now we've got 10 riders chasing one rider from Movistar, and that's Quintana. Here he is.
Nasty left-hander, this one. Right. Come on, Quintana, hold it up right.
He just didn't want to go in that kind of damp patch there. If you go into that damp patch and then onto the corner, you could be sliding out. Just got a wee bit of dampness on the tyres. Yeah, it's looking a bit better for Quintana now. He is taking the chances. The yellow jersey the group will not take chances, and that's why Evans has decided to come to the front. He wants another stage win, and he knows that he has to try and catch Quintana.
Yeah, he does indeed. This is the bend that Quintana's just been through. Evans is a very good descender, ex-mountain biker, World Cup winner, and the mountain bike Grundig World Cup winner. And he raced for Cannondale, moved across to road riding with Mapai. Mustn't forget his first Giro d'Italia, he wore the pink jersey.
Yeah, he did. He did.
.26 seconds for Jose Quintana here. 5 kilometers to go. This is looking good for Quintana. Another nasty left-hander. It's looking good for Quintana of Movistar at the moment, because the gap is growing out. Evans wants to try and get away. He's trying to break that elastic and get away with 5 kilometers to go. These are the nasty little switchbacks. There won't be any problems for him. Wiggins won't be too worried about this little dig by Cadel Evans. Evans is the man who wants to get across to Quintana here, but I don't think he's going to do it.
No, Quintana, I know from way back the Tour of Murcia that he can go downhill, and he will take the risks. He's on his own, and he's totally committed. He went over the top of the climb over the Giro plan with about 15 seconds. I know that Evans tried to attack over the top, and then he sat up, being brought back by the Sky train. But yeah, it's the stage win is up for grabs, and Evans has decided that he wants to try and win this stage. Sky are not going to give him any more time, but for Wiggins, he doesn't really have to take any risk whatsoever. The whole of Team Sky will just sit there. They'll come off this climb, and hopefully, if it was 15, 20 seconds, maybe bring it back. But they're looking a lot better for Quintana now, taking the risks and pulling out another 14 seconds to 29 seconds.
That's interesting. Let's see how quickly Evans can go now. He's taken a little bit more gap over the yellow jersey. That's not a problem for Bradley Wiggins. This is a bit of the descent when Evans can eat up into Quintana. Quintana, mountains classification winner in Catalonia last year, a winner of the Tour of Murcia as well as a stage this year. He's an excellent climber, and therefore a pretty good descender. More than a pretty good descender, but Evans also a good descender, and he's very strong and very brave too, is Cadel Evans. What is the gap? Well, it's enough, I think, for Quintana here. I don't think Evans is pulling out enough of a gap. He's trying very hard to get across to Quintana, that's for sure. Don't think he's going to do it.
No, I can't see Evans pulling any time back, especially in this section. I think both of them are going down these climb as fast as each other.
Really giving an absolute dreadful road surface at that point. Into Morzine goes Quintana, Nero Quintana. As I say, he was a winner in Tour of Murcia, as Brian was pointing out. This year, won a stage there as well, and won the mountains classification in Catalunya last year. And let's not forget, he's won the Tour de l'Avenir. He's an excellent all-round rider. You don't win the Tour de l'Avenir without being good at everything. And plunging still down into Morzine. Nice little coffee shop on the right-hand side here. I don't think he's got time to stop for a double espresso as we go down. 2 kilometers now for Wiggins. And Quintana, I think, is on the front tire, skipping and bouncing on Wiggins' bike. Whoops! That's a little bit of an unexpected corner, I think, for them. Flying into the finish. Quintana almost overcooking it. Wiggins is going to, Evans is going to have to watch that as well. Here he comes. I feel absolutely certain he's not going to be able to catch Quintana now, unless he can really time trial his way through it. Oh, lovely bit of cornering. Well, you did exactly. I said you'd have to watch it, didn't we? Still got that. I'm not going to take any chances, these guys, if I can possibly help it. Oops. That Michael Rogers is running a bit wide there. And Nero Quintana is going to take a big stage win here in the Critérium du Dauphiné. Went over the top and straight out from the select group. And a very, very good descent by this young man. Winner of the Tour of Murcia at the front end of the year. Peaking again at the right time, Brian.
Yeah, looking good. We did mention him in the Movistar team, sitting back a wee bit today. We thought Amador might go on the attack, but this is a classy bike rider, one of these pure climbers, and we're going to see a lot more of him.
Quintana taking a wonderful stage win off the Jouplan today. Really taking enough chances to get away from everybody else, knowing that Team Sky are going to keep hold of the yellow jersey by being a little bit safer. Quintana takes the win. Brave attempt by Cadel Evans to get across to him. He can't. He has to settle for second. But still a good indication. Always driving for the line. How many seconds does he get over Wiggins? Just a handful. 10 at most. Wiggins comes in alongside Chris Froome. Jürgen van den Broek also in the group. And that was an incredible display of powerful riding by Team Sky. Really wonderful. Over the line for Grifko, I think. Terrific win by Quintana, but Team Sky marvellously strong and really just decimating the field, to be honest. Critérium du Dauphiné, stage 7, Morzine to Châtel, only 124.5 kilometers, but you can bet everybody's going to be on the attack who hasn't got anything out of this Critérium du Dauphiné so far. Following us, it's the final at Roland Garros of the women with game, set and mats first. I hope you've enjoyed today. Brilliant day today. Join us tomorrow. Final day, Critérium du Dauphiné. Bye for now.